My name is Eliza, and I learned some family ties are weaker than others at my cousin Vanessa's wedding. The crisp white invitation arrived in my mailbox on a Tuesday, embossed with silver script and tiny flowers. I felt a surge of excitement seeing it. Vanessa and I had always been close growing up, spending summers together at our grandparents' lake house, sharing secrets during family gatherings, supporting each other through college and early adulthood. We had drifted somewhat in recent years as our lives took different paths, but I still considered her one of my favorite relatives. I opened the envelope carefully, sliding out the formal invitation card. Vanessa Marie Campbell and David Michael Jensen request the honor of your presence as they join in marriage. I smiled, genuinely happy for her. Vanessa had met David 3 years ago, and from everything I'd seen at family gatherings, they seemed perfect for each other. I continued reading, noting the date, time, and venue, an upscale vineyard about an hour outside the city. Then I saw it. A small card tucked behind the main invitation. We kindly request an adults-only celebration. While we love your little ones, this is an opportunity for you to let loose and enjoy an evening without worry. I paused, my finger tracing over those words. My daughter Lily was 5, a bright, well-behaved little girl who had been excited about the prospect of attending a princess party, as she called weddings. I knew she would be disappointed, but I understood. Weddings are expensive, venues have capacity limits, and not everyone wants children at their formal event. I called my mother that evening to see if she could babysit. Vanessa's not allowing kids at the wedding, I explained after she agreed to watch Lily. It's adults only. That's becoming more common these days, Mom said. Though I always loved having children at weddings. They bring such joy to the celebration. I know, but it's her day. She gets to decide. My mother hesitated on the line. Is everyone following this rule? What about her sister's little girl? Hannah must be about 4 now. I hadn't thought about that. Vanessa's sister Melanie had a daughter just a year younger than Lily. They lived in another state, so our families didn't see each other often, but the girls had played together at the last family reunion. I assume the rule applies to everyone, I said. The invitation was pretty clear. The day of the wedding arrived, warm and sunny, with just enough breeze to keep the heat at bay. I kissed Lily goodbye, promising to bring her back a piece of cake, and drove to the vineyard. The venue was stunning, rows of grapevines stretching across rolling hills, a white tent gleaming in the afternoon sun, flowers everywhere. I found my assigned seat for the ceremony, greeting distant relatives and catching up with family members I hadn't seen in months. Everyone looked wonderful, dressed in their finest, excited to celebrate Vanessa's special day. Then the music changed, signaling the start of the ceremony. The groomsmen and bridesmaids began their procession, walking slowly down the aisle in pairs. I smiled, snapping a few photos on my phone to show Lily later. The music shifted again, becoming softer, sweeter. The guests turned toward the back of the aisle, and that's when I saw her. A small figure in a frilly white dress carrying a basket of rose petals. Hannah, Vanessa's niece, her sister Melanie's daughter. My stomach dropped. I blinked, certain I was mistaken. But no, it was definitely Hannah, beaming as she tossed petals with enthusiastic, if uneven tosses, clearly enjoying her important role. The little girl I had left at home with my mother could have been standing in that exact spot, wearing that exact dress. Lily was just a year older, just as well behaved, just as much a part of the family. Or so I had thought. I felt heat rising to my cheeks as the implications sank in. The no kids rule apparently didn't apply to everyone. It didn't apply to the right kids, just to mine. I tried to focus on the ceremony, to be present for Vanessa's special moment. The bride looked beautiful walking down the aisle, her gown flowing behind her. The vows were heartfelt, the ring exchange touching. I clapped and smiled at all the right moments, but inside, a cold realization was taking hold. This wasn't about logistics or budget or venue capacity. If it were, there would be no children at all. This was about who was truly valued in the family circle, whose presence mattered, whose child was welcome. As the ceremony concluded and guests began moving toward the reception area, I remained seated, trying to process my feelings. I didn't want to cause a scene. I didn't want to make this day about me or my hurt feelings. It was still Vanessa's wedding day, a once-in-a-lifetime event that she deserved to enjoy without drama. But I also couldn't pretend this didn't hurt, deeply. I stood up slowly, gathering my purse and the card I had brought containing a generous check. I walked toward the reception area, still debating what to do. Part of me wanted to confront Vanessa, to ask why my daughter wasn't good enough to attend while her niece not only attended but participated. Another part wanted to leave immediately, to escape the feeling of being an outsider in what I had thought was my own family. Near the entrance to the reception tent, I spotted Melanie, Hannah's mother, fixing her daughter's hair bow. "She did such a wonderful job," I said, approaching them with a smile I didn't feel. Melanie looked up, her expression brightening. "Oh, Eliza, it's been too long." Yes, Hannah was so excited to be the flower girl. She's been practicing for weeks. Hannah grinned up at me. "I did good with my petals." "You certainly did," I agreed, keeping my voice warm for the child's sake. "You were perfect." Melanie nodded proudly. Vanessa insisted that Hannah be part of the ceremony. She said a wedding just isn't complete without a flower girl. Each word felt like a small cut. A wedding isn't complete without a flower girl, but apparently complete without my daughter. "I thought the wedding was adults only," I said carefully. "That's what the invitation specified." Melanie's smile faltered slightly. "Oh, well, you know how it is. Hannah is practically Vanessa's daughter, too. They're so close, and she's in the wedding party, so it's different." "Different, yes." That was becoming increasingly clear. "I see," I said simply. I excused myself, moving through the growing crowd toward the gift table. I placed my card in the designated box, then found a server carrying champagne. Taking a glass, I moved to a quiet corner to think. I wasn't going to make a scene. I wasn't going to confront Vanessa or demand explanations on her wedding day. But I also couldn't stay and pretend everything was fine, making small talk through dinner while this realization settled like a stone in my stomach. So I did something I rarely do. I left early. I finished my champagne, found the wedding planner to convey my congratulations to the bride and groom, claiming a sudden migraine, and walked to my car before the reception properly began. The drive home was quiet, my thoughts loud. I thought about all the times in recent years when I had prioritized maintaining my relationship with Vanessa, making the effort to attend family events despite my busy schedule as a single mother, sending thoughtful gifts for holidays and special occasions, calling to check in regularly. Had she ever made the same effort? Had she ever truly valued our relationship the way I had? The truth was settling in, uncomfortable but undeniable. I was an obligation to her, a box to check on the family invite list. My daughter and I were afterthoughts, not priorities. When I arrived home, my mother looked surprised to see me so early. "Is everything okay? The wedding must have been very quick." I sank onto the couch, emotions finally catching up with me. The ceremony was lovely, but I didn't stay for the reception. Mom frowned, coming to sit beside me. What happened? Turns out the no kids rule had an exception. I explained about Hannah's role as flower girl. My mother's expression shifted from confusion to understanding to indignation. "Oh, Eliza, I'm so sorry." "It's fine," I said automatically, though we both knew it wasn't. "It's her wedding, her choice." "That doesn't make it right," Mom said gently. "Or kind." From the hallway came the sound of little footsteps, and then Lily appeared, still in her pajamas even though it was afternoon, her hair rumpled from a nap. "Mommy, you're home early." She climbed onto my lap and I held her close, breathing in the scent of her shampoo. "Did you bring me cake?" "No cake yet, sweetie. The party was just starting when I left." Her little face fell. "Why did you leave early?" I looked at my beautiful daughter, trying to find words that wouldn't transfer my hurt to her. "Because I missed you too much," I said finally, which wasn't entirely a lie. She beamed, throwing her arms around my neck. "I missed you too. But I had fun with Grandma. We made cookies." "You did? That sounds way better than a boring old wedding." She nodded seriously. "Way better." As Lily chatted about her day with Grandma, I felt some of the hurt begin to fade, replaced by certainty that I'd made the right choice in leaving. Why would I want to spend time with people who didn't value my child, when I could be here with her instead? The next morning, after a good night's sleep and some reflection, I sat down at my desk and took out my stationery. I needed to address what had happened, not just for myself, but also because I knew Vanessa would eventually hear I'd left early and wonder why. I wrote several drafts, some angry, some hurt, some coldly formal. I tore each one up. Finally, I settled on simple, truth. Dear Vanessa, congratulations on your wedding. The ceremony was beautiful and you made a stunning bride. I wish you and David all the happiness in the world as you begin your life together. I want to apologize for leaving early and explain why. When I received your invitation specifying adults only, I respected your wishes and arranged childcare for Lily despite her disappointment at missing her cousin's princess party. You can imagine my surprise when I saw Hannah walking down the aisle as your flower girl. In that moment, I understood that the issue wasn't children at your wedding, but rather which children you wanted there. Thank you for showing me so clearly who's welcome and who's just invited. It's a distinction I'll remember. With love, always. Eliza. I sealed the letter in an envelope, affixed a stamp, and placed it in the mailbox. I knew it might create tension in the family, but some truths need to be spoken, even quietly, in a letter. 2 weeks passed. Vanessa and David were on their honeymoon, a luxury trip to the Maldives according to her social media posts. I focused on work and Lily, trying not to dwell on what had happened or anticipate Vanessa's response. Then one evening my phone rang with Vanessa's number on the screen. I hesitated before answering, steeling myself for whatever was coming. Hello? Eliza, it's Vanessa! Her voice sounded strained. I got your letter. I thought you might have. There was a pause. I don't understand why you're making such a big deal about this. Hannah was in the wedding party. It was different. I closed my eyes, unsurprised by her response, but disappointed nonetheless. That's the thing, Vanessa. You could have included Lily too. You could have had 2 flower girls. You could have made an exception for family children. Instead, you made it clear whose child mattered and whose didn't. That's not fair, she protested. It wasn't about that at all. Melanie insisted Hannah be included, and I didn't want to fight with her. So you chose to disappoint me instead because you knew I wouldn't make a fuss? The realization stung even as I said it. Because you knew I would respect your wishes without question? Silence on the line. You know what hurts the most, I continued. Not that Lily missed a wedding. She's 5, she'll see plenty of weddings. It's that you didn't consider her feelings important enough to even try to include her. You didn't value our relationship enough to treat us with the same consideration as your sister. I didn't think it was that big a deal, Vanessa said finally. I didn't think you'd react like this. And that's exactly the problem. You didn't think about us at all. More silence. Then, so what now? Are you just not going to speak to me anymore over this? I sighed. I'm not cutting you off, Vanessa. You're still family. But I won't pretend this didn't hurt or that it doesn't change things between us. I've spent years making you a priority in my life, and now I see that effort wasn't reciprocated. So yes, things will be different going forward. What does that mean? It means I'll see you at family gatherings, I'll be polite and civil, I'll send birthday and Christmas gifts, but the kind of relationship where I drop everything to be there for you, where I go out of my way to maintain our connection, that's over. I could hear her inhale sharply. Over a flower girl? Seriously, Eliza? No, not over a flower girl. Over the realization that I'd been investing in a relationship that wasn't equally valued. The flower girl was just what made it clear. After we hung up, I felt a strange sense of peace. The conversation hadn't gone particularly well, but I had said my piece with dignity and clarity. I hadn't let anger drive the interaction or allowed myself to be persuaded that my feelings were invalid. True to my word, I didn't cut Vanessa off completely. When we saw each other at Thanksgiving that year, I was cordial, engaging in pleasant small talk, but not seeking her out for deeper conversation as I once would have. At Christmas, I sent a thoughtful but not extravagant gift. When she texted occasionally, I responded, but didn't initiate. Some family members noticed the change. My mother, of course, understood completely. Others seemed confused by the new distance between cousins who had once been so close. Melanie cornered me at an Easter gathering the following spring. Vanessa thinks you're still angry about Hannah being in the wedding, she said, her voice lowered as we stood in our grandmother's kitchen. I smiled slightly, continuing to arrange deviled eggs on a serving plate. I'm not angry, I just have clarity now about where I stand. Come on, Eliza, it wasn't personal. I looked at her directly. Your daughter was welcome, mine wasn't. How is that not personal? She had no answer for that. The truth is, some lessons in life come wrapped in unexpected packages. Mine came in a flower girl dress, throwing rose petals down an aisle my daughter wasn't allowed to witness. It wasn't the lesson I wanted to learn about family and belonging, but perhaps it was one I needed. Over time, the hurt faded. My relationship with Vanessa settled into a new normal. More distant cousin than dear friend. I focused my energy on relationships where the investment was mutual, where my daughter and I both felt genuinely valued. Lily, now 6, still occasionally asks about cousin Vanessa with the princess party. I tell her that someday she'll be invited to a wedding where she can wear a beautiful dress and dance all night. Her eyes light up at the promise, and I am reminded again of what truly matters. The invitations that count aren't the ones embossed with silver script and tiny flowers. They're the ones that make space for all of you, that welcome not just your presence, but your whole heart, your full life, the people you love most. I keep the note I sent Vanessa in my journal as a reminder. Thanks for showing me who's welcome and who's just invited. It's a distinction I carry forward into all my relationships now, a filter through which I evaluate who deserves my time and energy. Because life is too short to spend it with people who only make room for parts of you, who only value you when it's convenient, who invite you to the party but make it clear you don't truly belong. I'd rather be where I'm wholly welcome, not just merely invited, and I'm teaching my daughter to expect the same.